It's time to talk about NFL on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast, week 6. The main show is here. Our Thursday Night Football video has probably been and gone by the time you're watching this. That's on our channel. Go check out how we did. But, Tom Collins, big week of action. Not many late games this week, though.
No, the late slate is pretty weak. You're going to have to bear with me, guys. My throat is a bit sore, so my throat may give way at some point during this video. But yeah, I mean, we haven't got the best of slates in terms of a neutral viewing perspective. Like Red Zone at 9:25 this week until midnight probably isn't going to be the greatest. They're going to be showing some plays that aren't feature highlights, which we're kind of used to. But that happens when there's a lot of bye weeks. All that matters, though, in terms of this video, is that we can provide more winners. And last Sunday, Luke, we were firing.
We were. 4 from 5 for me, 3 from 4 for you. The reason we say 4, Tom, is because your player of the day didn't go. Brock Bowers suddenly was hurt throughout the week and badly enough to miss not only last week, but possibly this week.
Yeah, exactly. It's not great for the Raiders. We're going to talk a bit about the Raiders in this video later on. But yeah, it's not good that he's out. And obviously, last week we had a void play. You didn't lose any if you played my player of the day in Brock Bowers, but obviously we didn't win because we didn't get the chance to see him on the field. But my player of the day, my replacement player of the day, was in Thursday Night Football. So hopefully by the time you've watched this record should now read 4-1.
I mean, this is going to be weird for you because you don't technically get a victory sip.
I don't.
But you didn't have a loser.
How about I might get a double victory sip next week if Barkley does it on Thursday.
Or double record it right now. Take a victory sip and go, delicious. And then do another one and go, that was a bit bitter. I don't know.
I wish I could do that. I do. To be fair, I do need a drink, but it feels unethical to drink during the victory sip moment.
Yeah, mine was good. Mine was 10 out of 10 stuff. But
well done. To be fair, you are firing. You're 5-0 with the player of the day. I mean, if you can continue this all year long, the viewers will be happy.
I will be delighted as well. Sam Darnold last week throwing for over 1.5 touchdowns. Eve did it in style because he threw for 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was the play of the day for me last week. We'll get into this week's stuff. However, please do subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Leave a like. Leave whatever you possibly want within reason. And please be nice about it on the channel. Also, we've got our members tier as well. The link is down below. We're doing a Monday Night Football preview later on in the week, and we add plenty more content to the members tier as well. Tom, are you annoyed?
Oh, I'm so annoyed.
Are you annoyed? Editor Joe, hit the clock.
It's time for What on Earth? What on Earth? Arizona Cardinals. I mean, that game last week with the Cardinals and the Titans was abysmal. The Cardinals were up massive at halftime. It looked like the game was going to be run, as many people would have anticipated. Amari DiMercado goes on a 70-yard run. He's going to put the game to bed. Flips the ball 1 centimetre from the end zone. No touchdown. Then the Titans somehow get back into it. And in the fourth quarter, Cam Ward throws a pick when the Titans could have won the game. Game over. Cardinals win. No. The corner drops the ball. Then Kytrell Clark comes along. He kicks it when trying to recover it and then pats it into his own end zone, meaning Tyler Lockett gets the TD. What on earth, Arizona Cardinals? That was horrible.
It was hilarious to watch from as a Seahawks fan. It was absolutely hilarious. My What on Earth is kind of similar, but I'm just going to dogpile in on Amari DiMercado because what on earth, Amari DiMercado? You don't get many chances in the NFL, quite honestly. You managed to get a touchdown the week prior because Trey Benson managed to get hurt. And you were going to come in and you were going to be the guy this week. Michael Carter took over the main role, but you cut off a perfect, I think it was 71-yard touchdown run. And then you start slowing down. Why are you slowing down? L'Jarius Sneed is behind you. You're just trying to show off. Then you do what Adonai Mitchell did the week before and drop the ball. Why are you dropping the ball? Just stop. What? Why is this a thing? What on earth, Amari DiMercado? It really annoys me.
Hey, mate, I bet you that is not the last time that you'll do a What on Earth about someone dropping the ball as they're going into the end zone. I don't know what they're doing. Are they not watching the highlights from the week before?
I've done it in back-to-back weeks. Back-to-back weeks.
Crazy.
And then Jonathan Gannon, he's the guy that got in trouble for it because he was too angry at Amari DiMercado. Cut him. Get him off the team. Get him off the team. If you can't remember, as a backup running back to carry the ball into the end zone, gone. Get rid of him. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Gannon got fined $100,000. Look, he was a little bit over aggressive, I would say. He kind of does thump DiMarcado on the sidelines, which isn't ideal, but still, I mean, I would be raging. Not that furious, but I would be raging with my player. That would have put the game to bed, and they ended up losing. So DiMarcado won't get many snaps this week, I bet.
No, if my job was on the line, Tom, and you did something to put my job even further on the line, I'd probably want to hit you as well. Quite honestly,
I better perform this week then.
yeah, exactly. Step your game up. But honestly, yes, don't hit people. But I kind of get where Jonathan Gannon was coming from. What dumb move. Right. Let's move on to this week because again, Tom, we're in jolly old London. I don't really need to do that because we are English,
Yeah, we
but
are literally English.
I feel like that's what American people want us to sound like.
Yeah, talking all Cockney like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've got an NFL London game again. So, yeah, this is my notice that I will do many times this season when there is a game in Europe. Don't forget there's a game in London on Sunday, 2:30 p.m. UK time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time if you are in the US. Do not forget if you're trying to play bets and want to play the whole slate. And it's not a bad game, is it? I mean, the Broncos are playing. The Broncos are a very good team. I am the biggest Broncos fan that's not a Broncos fan, if that makes sense. Okay, they're playing the Jets, who have been Jets this season. But, it's quite nice to see Denver over in the UK. And it should be a good game too.
yeah, it absolutely should be. Maybe it was one of the games that when it was announced, I wasn't looking forward to as much, but it should still be a good game. Justin Fields is at least playing okay, adequately at the moment. But Tom Collins, what position, just out of all the players on the field in London games, what position excels year in, year out?
Now, to be fair to you, I'm going to give you the whole credit here. I'm not going to say it's my opinion at all, but you've been saying this for 5 or 6 years, I think. Well, to me anyway, you're probably saying it for longer. But every time there's a London game, you say tight end nation. This is when you play tight ends. And you have been proven to be correct over the years. So I presume you're going this way again when it comes to the Broncos Jets?
Correct. Last week, the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson has 6 catches for 38. Even Josh Oliver had 2 for 35 and a touchdown. On the opposite side of the ball, both tight ends got theirs as well. Harold Fannin managed to get a touchdown, 4 catches for 13. And David Njoku, welcome back. Welcome back to relevance, my friend. 6 for 67 and a touchdown. So why go away from it? I think last year, Tom, by the way, there were 6 tight ends that played in England. 5 out of the 6 covered their receiving line.
Yeah, that's a good stat. That's a good stat. And hopefully it will continue this year.
Yeah, I think one of the only ones, I can't remember who it was, but it was a good tight end who had a receiving line like 70 or something like that. But this week, Mason Taylor is going to cover all lines because Mason Taylor is going to have a huge week regards to fantasy. Now, the 2 lines I'm going to attack, and I'll come up with both of them right now. Over 4.5 receptions, that's at 7 to 5. That price is already shortened as well. And Mason Taylor over 34.5 receiving yards, that's at 10 to 11. Now, they go hand in hand. Mason Taylor is a massive part of this New York Jets offense. Before the season started, everyone was saying, well, who's going to be the number 2 to Garrett Wilson? And loads of people were saying, well, it's going to be Breece Hall, isn't it? Not quite. It's Mason Taylor. It's the rookie tight end. And he is getting a lot of looks as well. Ever since Justin Fields came back, admittedly, he wasn't out for long whatsoever. He has been not the focal point, but he has absolutely been the number 2 to Garrett Wilson. 7 targets for 5 catches and 65 yards against Miami. Didn't find the end zone. And against Dallas last week. Again, it was a little bit of a shootout, but they should be playing from behind here against the Denver Broncos. 12 targets for Mason Taylor. That turned into 9 catches for 67 yards. Both of those games are absolutely fine to cover this bet. And the thing I liked about his usage against Dallas last week, Tom, they weren't using him in an adventurous manner. It was literally a case of, right, block, leak out, 10 yards. There you go. And it was a very, very simple catch. You catch the ball, you go down, you fall to the ground, job done. For us, that is absolutely ideal in this. They're designing plays specifically for Mason Taylor as well. And it's just a cheap way to get down the field. So I think Mason Taylor is going to have a big game in London. I'll take him over 4.5 receptions, and I'll also take him over 34.5 receiving yards. And we're going to sweat it out, Tom, because my player of the day is coming early. My player of the day is coming in London. That's Mason Taylor over 4.5 receptions. Let's go tight ends.
Oh, mate, I love that. And we're going to doubly sweat it out because my play of the day also comes in London. So we're going to know our fate very early on Sunday afternoon. My play of the day, my only pick
Don't be a
in this
tight.
game,
Don't be a wide receiver. Don't be a wide receiver.
is a tight end. And it's a tight end on the other side for the other team. And that is Evan Ingram. My play of the day on Sunday in week 6 is Evan Ingram over 2.5 receptions. Shorter price, 20 to 27 here. But I really like this. Now, I could go on a long spiel, and I'm going to, about why I like this play. Obviously, Luke's talked a lot about tight ends and how well they've done in London, so I won't go over that again. I also won't really dig deep into the Jets against tight ends. They've been okay. It's not necessarily an anti-Jets kind of way of thinking here. It's more that Evan Ingram is just the guy that Denver like generally at this stage of the season. And Evan Ingram loves London. He loves London. He's played 4 times in London in his career. Obviously, he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are over here twice every season for the last couple of years. So he has more experience than most, which definitely helps on this field. But Evan Ingram in London, here are his stats. In 2023, 7 catches for 59 yards against Atlanta, then 4 catches for 28 yards against Buffalo. Maybe you're not going to go, wow, that's red letter kind of stat line there for Ingram. But both times, 7 catches, 4 catches, we need 3 plus to win this play. In 2024, 10 catches on 10 targets for 102 yards against Chicago, and then 5 catches on 5 targets for 35 yards against New England. So he's 4 from 4 at covering this line. Every single time he plays in London, he is used relatively well by his team, and he goes and racks up a good stat line. He's only ever played against the Jets once in his career. That came back in 2022. As I say, this is a stat that I like. Generally, player against a team in the past. This was when he was with the Jags, but he went for 113 yards on 7 catches against the Jets in 2022 for the Jags. So he's good against this team. He's great in London. The Broncos are using him more. Last week, we got to saw the best side of Evan Ingram. And it seems like, Luke, this is now the time of year where these tight ends who maybe getting towards their veteran seasons are starting to come alive. We've had Darren Waller. Suddenly he's back from the brink. Evan Ingram, him too. I mean, these injury-prone tight ends are now suddenly back and bouncing. And I think Evan Ingram easily covers the over 2.5 receptions line on Sunday. NFL London, mate, we should be going. We love this bet.
Exactly. I think Evan Ingram might have been the guy last year who didn't cover the line, but that's because his line was like he got 35 yards. His line was like 60, I think it was. The main thing you sort of alluded to, Evan Ingram's healthy now. He had a calf issue early on in the season, but Evan Ingram is back to full health, and Bo Nix loves him, some Evan Ingram, who was back with a bang last week. Tom, I'm bored of talking about tight ends. Tell me about a different position.
Yeah, we'll move into 6 p.m. games. Tight end nation at 2:30, but we'll swiftly get off that when it comes to the 6 p.m. games. Okay, we're going to start in the Chargers against the Dolphins this week. Dolphins not being great. Chargers injury prone, lost their last 2. So this isn't the matchup that you would necessarily want to watch as a neutral, but I do think there's a good play in here, and that is Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So we need 2 plus passing touchdowns at 5 to 6. Kind of taking a leaf out of your book from last week, Luke, when you put up Sam Darnold. In this game, the Chargers would usually be considered to be run heavy, not only because that has been the Chargers' way of playing for the last few years, ever since Harbaugh came in, but more because the Dolphins have been terrible against the run. I think they rank bottom statistically against the run in the league. So generally, you would anticipate the Chargers would be running the ball a lot. But Najee Harris is out with a torn Achilles. Amarian Hampton's been put on IR for 4 weeks after an injury last week. So they're relying on Kimani Vidal and Hassan Haskins, and I don't trust either of those. So I don't know how much they're going to be running the ball. Actually, Justin Herbert may run the ball a fair amount, and I wouldn't put you off his overs in terms of rushing. But I'm going to play a little bit safer, and that is Herbert with the ball in hand. Now he's got Keenan Allen out there, good red zone threat, but also reliable down the field. You've got Lad McConkey, who suddenly came back to life last week. Not quite sure what happened to him last week. He was just a ghost on the field, but now Lad McConkey may be back to last season's form. And you've also got QJ Quentin Johnston out there, who's been very good all year. I think Herbert just finds them, and that's how the Chargers win this game on Sunday. We need 2 touchdowns. I think that's very possible. Herbert in his last 2 games has been a little bit underwhelming in terms of his passing attack, only 1 touchdown in each. But at the start of the season, 3 touchdowns in the opener, 2 in the second game. And last year, he was pretty potent at finding his wide receivers and tight ends in the end zone. So I like Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And finally, Miami, over the last 3 games, in each game, they've given away 2 passing TDs. So hopefully that trend will continue.
Yeah, the main thing is Miami suck.
Yeah.
That's not to get too technical on you. Miami are not very good. Again, but I didn't mind that chat about quarterbacks, Tom. It was fine. But I do miss tight ends. I do miss
Ah,
tight ends. So
go
I'm going
on.
to circle it back. Let's go to tight ends again, where the Cleveland Browns are on show. And I think they could, once again, be a serviceable team to try and target. Now, tight ends against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who is their matchup for this week. The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't fantastic against them, and they're getting worse as well. Last week, TJ Hawkinson managed to catch 4 for 39, which isn't overly impressive, but TJ Hawkinson is becoming a relevant thing again in Minnesota. The week prior to that, the New England Patriots, their leading receiver was Hunter Henry, 8 catches for 90 and 2 touchdowns. So, David Njoku, one of the better tight ends and definitely one of the more athletic tight ends in the league. His line is quite low. It's 34.5 receiving yards, the exact same line as Mason Taylor that I mentioned a few moments ago. Now, that's at 10 to 11 once again. I think David Njoku is about to become a real key part of this offense in Cleveland. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel took over last week. Immediately, he started looking to David Njoku. Literally, one of the first plays of the game went to Njoku for about 11 yards or so. He caught 6 passes on 9 targets for 67 yards, and he managed to turn it into a touchdown as well. Now, to start off the season, Njoku hasn't been fantastic. He has had a couple of games that, I mean, if you drafted him in fantasy football like I did, you were like, okay, it'll get you by. But no real wow games. Last week was the first one. And the fact that it came on the first game without Joe Flacco, I think that's a big part. Gabriel's going to be looking once again for David Njoku. David Njoku is healthy. And also, this Browns offense is not fantastic. There's not many pieces to throw to. Isaiah Bond is being force-fed the ball, and he's not yet ready in the NFL. He's not been around for too long. Quinshon Judkins is getting a big workload in the backfield. Other than that, Jerry Jeudy's not really performing. The Browns need David Njoku to step up, Tom, and I think David Njoku does that this week, but we don't need him to go too crazy. Just have a 34.5 would be great.
Yeah, he's a guy that's been quite difficult to read, hasn't he, in the past? Because he can have monster games, like 100 plus yards and kind of a Trey McBride or a Brock Bowers. But then some games you just don't see him at all. So he's a difficult one to read, but hopefully you've read him right this week.
Yes, hopefully. I think I've got him in 2 or 3 fantasy football teams, so I'm desperate for him to be good. I've also got, Tom, your next guy in a couple of fantasy football teams.
Yeah, and you've put him up several times this year. I'm not quite sure what your record is with him.
2 and 1, I think, for
2-1.
Henderson.
Okay, not terrible.
For this random guy that you'll tell everyone about.
The player in question is Travion Henderson, and I want to take his receiving yards this week. The Patriots play the Saints. Receiving yard line is set to 12.5, very low, but we'll take the over there. This game, again, not great. Saints have been pretty underwhelming this year, despite the fact they won last week. Don't ask me about that game. And the Patriots have been okay, I suppose. And they've got a really good schedule, the Patriots, moving forward. So they could have a pretty good year, which many people weren't anticipating. Travion Henderson needs to be a big part of that if they're going to have a big year and plenty of wins, largely due to the fact their receivers are okay. Stephon Diggs last week turned up against his former team in the Bills and enabled them to win. Otherwise, they don't have many deep threats or many threats at all. Demario Douglas has been pretty bleak, mediocre, barely played a part. You have got Hunter Henry, who is one of the top tight ends. I think he's tight end 4 so far this year in PPR leagues. So he's a big player for the Patriots. But they need a guy out the backfield. Gibson out for the year now. He tore his ACL last week, so he's not going to play a part. And Ramondre Stevenson just keeps putting the ball on the floor. How many times are you going to fumble for this Patriots coaching staff to actually say, no, let's put in actually the better guy, which is Travion Henderson? Now, if you look through his stats, even through college, but also in the NFL, if you run in between the tackles straight ahead, he's not great. He's quite a small back in terms of power, not necessarily stature, but in terms of power. And he just finds it difficult to get yards after contact in between the tackles. But if you get him outside the tackles on passing plays or just outside runs, he is very effective. And I think the coaching staff will know that by now. So I'm looking to see if Henderson can be used in the passing game. if you go through his stats, every single game this year, he's had at least 2 catches. And he's right now averaging 6 yards per catch. So technically, you would say 2 catches for 12 yards. That's kind of what we're anticipating. We need 13 yards to cover the play. I think he's going to do that. With Gibson out, Stevenson's not going to get as many plays. You're against the Saints. Henderson's going to be used. It wouldn't surprise me if he actually covered this easily. I'm talking like 40, 50 receiving yards. But look, I'll take 13 if it comes to that. Travion Henderson over 12.5 receiving yards for the Patriots.
Yeah, the problem with Travion Henderson is he needs to get on the field for pass blocking because rookies, they need to earn their way onto the field. And Mike Vrabel has said that his pass blocking is not very good. It's getting better, but does need to get better. However, in his whole time in college, Tom, we talk about Ramondre Stevenson fumbling twice in a game. Travion's never fumbled.
No. So why wouldn't you play him? Like the biggest thing in the NFL to win games is ball security. Everyone says it. Like what Stevenson just every single game this year has put the ball on the ground. Just play Henderson. He's more dynamic. Okay, you might not be able to pound the rock, but okay, he doesn't need to be in there to do that. You can do outside runs, passing downs, get Stevenson on a couple of first downs, tell him to hold it with 2 arms like this, and then Henderson can play the rest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Get Stevenson the ball, Mike Vrabel. Right, let's move on to someone who gets the ball all the time, doesn't matter what he does, Kyren Williams. Or as Tom alluded to him last year many times, Kyren Wilson. But Kyren Williams, I think, is going to have a big game. He takes on the Baltimore Ravens, who historically are a fantastic defense. This year, they are terrible. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They had 44 points put on them by the Houston Texans last week. And Nick Chubb looked good again. 11 carries for 61 and a touchdown. Woody Marks didn't have a bad game. He got 24 yards on the ground. The Chiefs, the week prior to that, they were, okay. Isaiah Pacheco averaged 5 yards per carry. They managed to use the ball in more inventive ways. The Lions, obviously, as we know, ran all over the Ravens. David Montgomery was 12 for 151 and Jahmyr Gibbs 22 for 67, and they both managed to find the end zone. So, Kyren Williams, the line that we're going to play with Kyren is over 68.5 rushing yards. I think that's remarkably low. He's gone over that line in the last 2 of the last 4 weeks, or 2 of the last 3 weeks, I should say. Last week had 65 yards on 14 carries. His workload the last 2 weeks hasn't been as big. Now, the reason for that is because they've been playing from behind for part of those games. Against San Francisco, they were playing behind for a large part of the game. They came up just short, but Kyren still got his work, and he was used a ton in the passing game as well. That part won't be needed. I don't think they trust Blake Corum quite as much as they should either, which may lead to an even bigger workload for Kyren Williams. I was surprised, Tom, to see this line at 68.5. I expected to see it far higher than that. And honestly, if Kyren goes over 100 yards in this game, I would not be shocked at all.
Well, yeah, you've answered my question. My question was going to be, how many snaps is Blake Corum going to get? Because we have seen in recent weeks he has had a greater impact on the offense. But Corum is obviously still number one. So I don't know. To cover this line, you don't need 20 carries, really, do you? You need probably 14, 15. And that is if Corum doesn't break a long one. So I can see it. The line is low considering what Williams has done in the past. I'm just a little bit worried about Corum because, I don't know, maybe I'm the only believer in this guy. I've had him in one of my fantasy leagues ever since he was drafted. He wasn't even used last year. This year, he's starting to get more use, but still, they're not really putting him on the field. He's a very good running back, and for that reason, I'm a little bit tepid on Kyren moving forward, but I hope he covers for you this week.
Yeah, me too. Kyren Williams, over 68.5 rushing yards is my next at play. As we move into the 9 o'clock games, we're going to target the same player different ways, Tom.
Yes, there are only 3 games this week. I'll be firmly fixated on the Packers v Bengals, and hopefully Green Bay will smash them, which looks likely. They are 14-point favourites coming off the bye against a team with Joe Flacco now at QB. But I won't play in that game because it should be quite one-sided. Don't love the 49ers-Bucks game either from a playing perspective. 49ers, too many injuries. Bucks, don't know whether Bucky Irving's going to play or not. So one game that I'm going to be playing in, same for you, at 9 p.m, is the Raiders against the Titans, the worst game of the 3. But it's a guy called Ashton Genty. And you've been hot on Genty this season with a couple of plays, and I think you've won each time you've played Genty. I think this might be the first time I've played Genty so far in the Turf and Touchdowns podcast, but hopefully I'll go 1 from 1. I like over 73.5 rushing yards at 10 to 11. The simple player prop for the Raiders RB1. Genty, in the start of his career, the first 3 games of this season, He was just unable to get past the line of scrimmage, and it wasn't Genti's fault. The O-line was just abysmal. In week 4, he exploded. Genti came around. This was the Genti we saw at Boise in college, and the guy that we were anticipating coming into the NFL was going to make an immediate impact. Last week, he had a pretty good game. He wasn't outstanding. Like, no one went, wow, did you see Ashton Genti on Sunday? But he did have a pretty solid game for the Raiders. This week, they're playing the Titans. The Tennessee Titans rank 30th of 32 teams in the league at defending the run. They're also terrible in general. I don't know how they beat the Cardinals last week, but they should be 0-5. They've allowed 147 yards on the ground per game this season on average. Now I'm going to give you some stats from every game against the Titans this year. Week 1, they played the Broncos. RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins had 133 yards between them on 22 carries. Week 2, they played the Rams. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum had 110 yards between them on 22 carries. Week 3, Jonathan Taylor for the Colts had 102 yards on 17 carries against the Titans. Week 4, Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, 106 yards between them on 30 carries. Texans not a great running offense anyway, but still managed to get into 3 figures. And in week 5, Michael Carter, RB3 for the Cardinals, and Amari DiMercado, RB4, had 132 carries, 132 yards, on 21 carries, albeit one of those was DiMercado's 70-yard carry that we've already talked about. Every single week so far, the Titans have given up over 100 yards to running backs. Ashton Genti needs 74 yards to cover this line. I think he does it easily.
Do you know what else the Titans have done every single week?
Is it something to do with touchdowns?
It is. They have allowed a running back to score a touchdown on them at least once per week. Multiple times per week is the general consensus. But I like Ashton Genti to score twice. I think Ashton Genti has a big week. I'm going to go in off the back of your Saquon Barkley Thursday Night Football shout. I think Ashton Genti 2 or more touchdowns at 7-2 is a phenomenal price. Now, it's happened so far this year. Genti got 3 touchdowns in one game, obviously. And with this, it doesn't matter if it's rushing or if it's receiving. It's all the same. It all counts. And the Titans, they're just not very good in general. Week 1 against the Broncos, J.K. Dobbins managed to find the end zone. Let's go back to last week, though. Almost every single person who rushed the ball for the Cardinals scored a touchdown. And the only reason they didn't is because DiMercado dropped the ball. Other than that, Bam Knight came in, touchdown. Michael Carter came in, touchdown. Kyler Murray came in, touchdown. DiMercado was the only one who didn't score a touchdown, and that's just because he threw the ball on the floor. Jonathan Taylor scored 3 touchdowns against this team 3 weeks ago now. The Texans, they moved the ball efficiently against this team, and again, Woody Marks managed to find the end zone. I think this price is quite low. I looked at, I think it was Jonathan Taylor at 2 or more touchdowns. He was about 2-1, maybe a little bit under that. I think 7-2 regards to Ashton Genti to score 2 or more, Tom, is a phenomenal price. I think we are both collecting on these bets, and 9 p.m. might be uneventful, but I think it's profitable at least.
Yeah, exactly. We're Genti heavy. Hopefully we'll be discussing on WhatsApp how well these bets are going by that point. But you guys will be able to see us celebrating, hopefully, on Twitter. If you don't follow us there, at Turf Touchdowns, go do that. We like to celebrate when we get a winner, and you guys can join in too. But yeah, I think this might be the first time we've played the same player but a different bet.
Yeah, I think so. I don't recall doing that. But I do recall plenty of times dunking on the Chiefs. And Tom normally leads this. So, Tom, go on. Say everything anti the Chiefs. You're never going to go positive.
Hey, look, I'm going to give Gary Slater and the fellow Chiefs fans out there a little bit of respite this week. I don't think you'll win. I know your favourites. You're 2.5-point favourites over the Detroit Lions. Maybe you will win. And the reason for that is Detroit lack players on their defense. They've got a lot of injuries right now. If this was full healthy team, it would be a great Sunday night football game, but Detroit will come out on top. But that's all I'm going to say about Kansas in a negative way. Did you know, producer Joe told me this, by the way, or editor/producer Joe. He said the only team that we haven't played a bet in this year for or against, e.g. a player against this team or a player for this team, is the Detroit Lions. How mad is that? This week that changes. In primetime game, I'm going to play against the Lions, and I like Xavier Worthy in here, over 60.5 receiving yards for the Chiefs. A pro Chiefs bet. You never thought you'd see the day out of me, I'm sure. The reason for this, as already mentioned, is injuries to the Lions defense. DJ Reed, cornerback 1 for Detroit, out. He's out for the majority of the year, I believe. Terrion Arnold, gone this week. He's not going to play. There are rumours he may line up. or may suit up, but I don't think he's going to play many snaps, even if he does. And it seems unlikely he will play in general. The corners now for Detroit are poor. You have Robertson on one side, and you've got Rock Ya-Sin, who I watched him a lot at the Colts. He loves a holding call or a PI, a DPI. He is all over the receivers, just very touchy, and he causes defenses a lot of trouble. Patrick Mahomes will know that. The Chiefs' offense will know that. The coaching staff will know that. They are a very shrewd and talented team of people when it comes to planning a game, which is why Kansas had so much success over the last few years. They will target Rock Ya-Sin. They'll probably target Robertson as well because he's not a premium corner. I don't mind Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown over bet either, but I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy. I think he's the more solid out of the two. He is the guy that has all the juice. He is arguably wide receiver 1 right now in Kansas. And Mahomes is going to find him a lot. If he comes up against Rock Ya-Sin, I'm just going to hope that he doesn't get held by Rock and therefore incomplete pass and gets it on the penalty. But I think he'll take the over here. I think Xavier Worthy will be down the field a lot on go routes. He may catch a few deep balls for 30 yards, 25 yards, maybe even further if we're lucky. But all we need is 61 plus for Worthy. He's a great receiver. Hopefully he gets his targets and he should be destroying these corners.
Yeah, he's gone over, I think, in maybe both games he's played properly this year as well. Xavier Worthy, for the moment, is wide receiver 1. Rashee Rice is back, I think, next week or the week after for the Chiefs.
Week 7.
I think it's week 7 that Rashee Rice is back, which is a big thing for the Colts. For the Colts.
It's not a big thing for the Colts.
They don't really care. They don't really care at all. For the Chiefs, it's a big thing. Before we get into our selections and round things up, let's just ask you to help us out. Subscribe down below. Leave a comment down below with your leading picks for this week and pick your favourite one of our picks as well. We like to know how you evaluate our evaluations. And also, as I say, we have got the members club. If you want just that little bit extra, we're back on Monday Night Football on our members tier. Tom, we're both starting off in London early on in the morning if you're over in the US, but normal time here in the UK. I'll let you go first.
Quick word, though, on the members tier. It is great value for money. I know you just said you should, to everyone to sign up. It is worth it, I promise you. It's like £5 a month. So far, Monday Night Football, I'm unbeaten 7-0, and your statistics are very good as well. I don't know them off the top of my head, so forgive me, but they're strong. You had 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 a couple of weeks ago. So, Look, if you're interested in Monday Night Football games and bets in those, please do sign up to members tier. There is a link in description. It's definitely worth it. Small fee, but you should easily make that back over the course of a month via the bets that we put up. Selections this week, 5 of them in week 6. Evan Ingram, as you say, in NFL London, 2:30 p.m. UK time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern if you're in the US. Do not forget that this is an early kickoff. Evan Ingram, over 2.5 receptions at 20 to 27. This is my play of the day. Selection 2, Justin Herbert for the Chargers. This is at 6 p.m. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns at 5 to 6. Selection 3, Travion Henderson in here for the Patriots against the Saints. Over 12.5 receiving yards at 10 to 11. Selection 4, Ashton Genty, over 73.5 rushing yards at 10 to 11. That was close to being my play of the day, but just went with Ingram instead. And selection 5, in the primetime game for the Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, over 60.5 receiving yards at 10 to 11 against those injured Lions.
I am also going to play the day in the London game early on, so it could be sad come 6 o'clock if things don't go right. But Mason Taylor over 4.5 receptions at 7 to 5. That is my play of the day. And I'm also going to take Mason Taylor over 34.5 receiving yards against the Broncos. That's at 10 to 11. Give me another tight end. Give me David Njoku, who is over 34.5 receiving yards as well. That is also at 10 to 11. Kyron Williams over 68.5 rushing yards. That's at 10 to 11 as well. And we'll end with the value. We'll end with the big bang. Ashton Genty, 2 or more touchdowns at 7 to 2. I think Ashton Genty has a massive week. That is 10 selections. Hopefully, Tom, all 10 of them managed to make game time.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. I like how you amended it. Normally, it's hopefully all 10 win. And I've been kind of criticising that. Albeit we were close last week. But yeah, hopefully all of these players actually suit up and line up on the field so then we can be cheering them all.
That is us done for the Turf and Touchdowns podcast for week 6. Leave a like, leave us a comment, subscribe down below. Tom, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, guys.